Hello everyone, welcome to InventBox. My name is Darius, and today I am excited to tell you about one of my favorite projects, and that is called MicroPython. Now, if you're not familiar with MicroPython, I give you a quick rundown. It was started in 2013 by a theoretical physicist named Damien George, and what he did, he rewrote the Python programming language from the ground up, stripped it down, and made it so small enough that it could run on low memory devices such as microcontrollers. He started this as a Kickstarter project, and it did fantastic. And as a result, he was able to start producing these circuit boards, which he called a Pi board. And yes, it is a little chip that can run Python programs. Very amazing. Now, since 2013, the project has grown in popularity and capability, as it has been continuously supported by its founder and the open source community. As you can see, his project has a formidable number of forks and stars on GitHub. In addition, MicroPython has seen some appearances and has been growing in popularity. So this is the BBC MicroBit project, and here what the BBC did was they created a little board packed full of features. It is powered by MicroPython. It's got a little chip on the other side that runs MicroPython. And they gave out almost 1 million of these boards to students in school so that they can learn electronics at a young age. And this is what the board looks like up close. I think it's pretty elegant. It has these larger pads that you can hook up gator clips to. It's got a fun little LED display, kind of a cute little outlook to it all. I do not have a microbit. I may at some point get one and start making tutorials for the microbit. I have some other boards capable of running MicroPython that I will be teaching on. So next I wanted to talk about, why. What are some of the real motivating factors of using Python on a microcontroller instead of what you would normally use, which is a compiled language like C and C++. So here in front of me, I've got a couple boards. This, of course, is your standard run-off-the-mill Arduino Uno. And I like these. I use them in all sorts of projects, and they're very easy to prototype with. But there are times when I will actually go for my MicroPython-based board first to prototype with, and here's why. So have you ever been working on an Arduino program, and for some reason it just freezes, or the program crashes, and you really can't figure out why? In C, that's called a seg fault, or whenever you sometimes access memory that you really shouldn't be, or you make a mistake that the processor can't recover from. And when that happens, it struggles to even give you a reason as to why it crashed. Oftentimes you're left wondering, first of all, what happened to make it crash, let alone, how do I correct it? On the other hand, MicroPython is different, because when you're running a Python program, you're actually, the chip is running MicroPython, and MicroPython is running your program. So there's a program running a program, and ultimately, that is to say, it's able to tell you, where the problem occurred, what file, what line number, but also give a little detailed explanation of what went wrong, kind of in human terms, it usually is sufficient enough for you to understand what happened and fix it. In addition, MicroPython ships with a portion of the standard library, not the full standard library, otherwise it wouldn't fit on a teeny little chip, but a lot of the commands that you are already familiar with and the modules, like the math library, of course, is all there fully implemented, and your OS and sys and some of these things that you're used to, it's all there. So if you already are familiar with Python on the PC, coming to MicroPython should be very easy, a small learning curve. In addition, MicroPython has or Python in general has a very solid package management system, which means it's easy for people to combine and play with modules, packages, and redistribute them. C or C++, it is possible, certainly, and for many years people package C programs and libraries. However, if you are a novice C++ developer, or even moderately experienced, I'm sure you've had your fair share of linker errors and undefined reference to X whatever in your lifetime, because in C it's not nearly as simple as simply importing a file and having it work. In Python, it's extremely easy to take a large program and break it up into a subset of smaller modules and maintain it that way. Okay, so obviously I have an ESP32 Thing here. What other boards, you may be wondering, can MicroPython run on right now? So the list is somewhat limited. It's growing, but so a few of the boards it can run on, either the ESP32, which is this one, or the ESP8266. Now technically, this ESP01 board doesn't have quite enough memory to run MicroPython. Technically, the older versions of MicroPython fit on one of these, just barely, but it's not very practical. Some of the newer ESP8266 boards will be able to fit it, and certainly the 32 can comfortably fit MicroPython. The Arduino, sadly, has nowhere near enough RAM and program storage to fit and run MicroPython. However, some of its older siblings, I guess, the larger Arduinos, may be able to run MicroPython, if not right now, perhaps in the future. What you can run MicroPython on right now is any x86 or x86-64 processor, including, in a lot of, good chance, probably the computer that you're using to watch this video. So what that means is you can run MicroPython on your target board. You can run MicroPython on the computer that you are writing the code on. So you can actually run your MicroPython code locally first and test it before uploading it to your board. Can you imagine if you could run your Arduino code on the computer before uploading it? Now obviously your computer doesn't have a whole bunch of I/O ports, but a lot of the things that you might be writing tests for happen all inside the processor and memory. It might be some kind of string parser or something that doesn't require I/O ports. Any of that can be tested locally. By the way, yes, MicroPython does have unit test, the standard library. In addition to the ESP boards, we also saw this Pi board, which Damien George created this himself, and I believe it is a ARM M0 Cortex, or, well, the newer ones might have a different ARM on there. And of course the MicroBit, and that uses a let's see, what are they called? Nordic chipset. So those are the main ones that support MicroPython right now. But in the future, totally expect that as popularity picks up even more, that more and more boards will be able to run MicroPython. Finally, the last thing that I wanted to mention is that MicroPython has, not only is Python easy to, like, the import system is very nice, MicroPython also has their own version of pip. It's called MicroPip or UPip, that allows you to install distributions of Python packages directly onto your board. Now, obviously, some boards don't have Wi-Fi, so you'd have to, it's a little bit of a different process to put it on. But for the ESP32, which does have Wi-Fi, you can actually install Python packages straight onto your board. So that's pretty amazing. Let's get into, it'll only take us a few minutes really to install MicroPython on this guy. This is their homepage right here. You can go to their download page and then scroll down until you find ESP32. Just download the newest stable, or the latest stable standard firmware, the stable one. And then you can copy the command above it that we use to program. I guess you should erase first. So why don't we do that? Obviously you need to have ESP tool installed. If you don't, it's just pip install ESP tool, and that'll get it for you. I do have ESP tool. So go ahead and connect your board. In my case, this ESP thing, you have to press the 0 button to get it to connect. And it should erase in just a second. It's good to erase the board first, just to make sure it's wiped clean. There's not any bits and bytes on there. And then we will install we'll just oops, wrong. Okay, copy that guy. You may have to specify a different path to your binary file. Mine's in my downloads. So obviously just check to make sure that the port is correct. Mine is using port 0. So if you are struggling to follow these instructions, or if you're on Windows or something, you may have to follow other instructions to install MicroPython. I can guarantee you that they've got a way. Let's see, ESP tool should work. I think it works on Windows. Someone will have to verify that for me. Wow, okay, so that actually just finished, and MicroPython is officially on this board. So all we have to do is connect to it using a serial terminal and see what it's trying to tell us. Now, you can use whatever serial console you want. I'll be using the one that MicroPython recommends. It's called PicoCom. It's just very simple to use, a one-liner. If you don't have it, you can, if you're on a Debian or Ubuntu, you can just sudo apt install PicoCom. Get it from the repository. If you're on Windows, you can use PuTTY. And there's probably 1,000,001 serial console programs available for you to use. But like I said, I'm using PicoCom because it is easy. Okay. Let's give the board a reset. And we are greeted by, well, actually we're greeted by an OS error. Ignore that, it's not really an issue, I promise. But secondly, we are greeted by the MicroPython console booting up. And yes, this is a live Python console, and we can type 1 + 2 and get 3, or we can import math and use math.sqrt and take the square root of 39.5. Wow, that looks like that's almost twice pi. 3.14. Sorry, I get distracted. Okay. Wow, that's really amazing. Hey, did you guys know that the square root of 39.5 is an approximation of pi? Alright. Okay, so this is Python 3. It's implementation of Python 3. So if you're not familiar with Python 3, or you're not familiar that much with Python at all, maybe you are wanting to just get started with electronics and you're using MicroPython as that avenue, that's fantastic. I would suggest go watching or finding some good Python, like standard Python tutorials, because once you learn standard Python on the desktop, standard Python, all of those same commands will carry over into MicroPython, and we'll be learning some new things like how to interact with the I/O ports and blink LEDs and control motors and all sorts of fun stuff. But we're going to be building on the basis of Python, which is one of the easier languages to learn, thankfully. Okay, so if you want, you can play around with this Python console for a few minutes, and whenever you've had your fun, if you are using PicoCom, to get out of this guy, you have to hit Control-A and then Control-X, and that will do it for you. It can be a little odd the first time because there's no quit button or something. And again, you can use whatever serial console you want. Alright, well, thank you for watching this video. I hope you've had some fun, or maybe you don't have a MicroPython board yet and you want to get into it. There's a lot, like I said. I think I got this Sparkfun board for $20. Sparkfun. The BBC MicroBit is $15. Very impressive for all that it can do. Here's the Sparkfun board. Now I'm just curious what a Pi board costs. Okay, so a Pi board might be a little bit more than the ESP. So there are plenty of options. If you're wanting to follow along exactly, then you can buy a ESP32. At some point, I am interested in buying myself a MicroBit, and if I do, then I'll make some tutorials for it, because I know that a lot of people are interested in the MicroBit because of how easy it is to. I mean, just look at the way that they engineered it to where you can gator clip onto some of these pins. I just think that it's a beautiful board. Anyway, enough said. So that's it for this tutorial. I am looking forward, and hopefully you are looking forward to getting started and programming some stuff in the next video. See you then.